Both Burnley and Brighton are two of the league's bottom 6 clubs, but both have a very nice cushion away from the drop zone of 8 points and 10 points respectively, which is very nice at the moment, with those two sides being very clear of the bottom 3 of Fulham, West Bromwich Albion and Sheffield United. Burnley are a side who come into this as the lowest Premier League scores of just 13 goals and hope today they can add goals and, more importantly, get back on the winning trail after 2 successive 2-0 losses to Chelsea and leaders Manchester City. For their Sussex visitors, Brighton, their season has started live, and their last 2 results have been huge wins and probably their best 2 performances of the season against Tottenham and Liverpool, in which they triumphed 1-0. While Burnley make one change to the team that lost to Manchester City on Wednesday night, Nick Pope continues in goal. It's the same back 4 of Lowton, Tarkowski, me and Eric Peters. Johan Bear Goodmanson, Cork and McNeil are the same 4 in midfield that started Wednesday night's game. And Ashley Barnes, a former Brighton and Hove Albion player, comes in place of Jay Rodriguez, who drops to the bench. Mate Vidra leads alongside him. The Czech is yet to score in the Premier League this season for the Clarets. Well, Brighton under Graham Potter really are starting to get to grips with this season, are starting to produce good performances. Robert Sanchez is in goal once again. It's the same back 3 of White, Duncan, Webster, an all-English feel, which has really won plaudits this season. Joel Veltman comes in for Solly March, who is sidelined with an injury in the only change in the midfield. Connolly comes in place of Leandro Trossard, who drops to the bench. And despite scoring a somewhat fluky goal on Wednesday night at the Champions, Stephen Alzate is replaced as Alexis McAllister comes back into the team. Well, it's nice to see Ashley Barnes back in the lineup. The 31-year-old missed the last few matches with an injury. And he's back in there to face his former side, who he left just 7 years ago to make the move from Sussex to Lancashire. And it does feel like when he is back in the Burnley team, there is a real chance that they will get goals even more. Well, a fist bump between 2 English managers. Sean Dyche, the 3rd longest serving manager in English football, alongside Graham Potter, really starting to get a glowing reputation as developing a young side and a young, hungry side. Well, there's Adam Webster. He has played the most minutes of any Brighton player this season in all competitions, with over 2,000 minutes under his belt. He is yet to also score this season. A man in his 2nd season with the Seagulls, very much performing to the price tag that they paid for him over 2 seasons. Taylor, the man in the middle, a Lancashire native. In support alongside him is Gary Bezic and Adam Dunn. And of course, should VAR need to intervene at any point during the game, Stuart Atwell is on hand to make those decisions. So it is 15th place Brighton against 17th place Burnley. Burnley 8 clear of the drop. Brighton 10 clear of the drop. A win for either side would be huge as they look to just get away from the drops even further than what they already are. And a traditional taking of the knee being observed by both sides, which has become a real sacred part of any football match in England this season. We're underway. Brighton, who've not conceded a goal in 360 plus minutes of Premier League football, against the Burnley side who've not scored in their last 2. So will it be the mean defence at the moment against getting the better of a side who are very toothless and lacking real spark in front of goal? And immediately Ben Miller, Burnley's longest serving player, brought to the club by Sean Dyche's predecessor, Eddie Howe. 9 years ago was when he made the move permanent. Well, both these sides share the accolade of being the only 2 sides to have beaten Liverpool over the last 3.5 years at Anfield. Of course, Brighton in their last away game did so with a 1-0 win through Alzate. And then Burnley, of course, prior to that, did it with an Ashley Barnes penalty, in which both sides recorded massive wins that has really pushed them up the table and away from the drop zone, more importantly. There's that the last 4 results that Brighton have had. 4 clean sheets within that. 1 draw and 3 1-0 wins against Leeds, Tottenham and Liverpool. 3 tough sides to possibly face. They are a side better away from home than they are at home, the Seagulls. Their away form this season has seen them win 4 and draw 3 of their 11 matches. And of course, they have had wins away at Newcastle, Aston Villa, Leeds, and Liverpool. And immediately Tarkowski and the Irishman Connolly are involved in a tussle there. Anthony Taylor says there's nothing wrong with that, as Nick Pope will now take this goal kick. There's Graham Potter. Second season with Brighton and Hove Albion, really building a good side, a good, young, hungry team. Very much sort of fitting in line with how Brighton as a club want to go in the next few years under him and Dan Ashworth. Here is now Mate Vidra. Goes down under the challenge of Joel Veltman and wins a free kick. The Czech turned back as he was looking to play it back, and then it was just a simple clip of the heels by Joel Veltman. He's on a long scoring drought, is Mate Vidra. He's not scored since the 22nd of February. That was a 3-0 win against Bournemouth. Met by me, but it's easy for Robert Sanchez to deal with as the header is straight at him. There is McAllister, the Argentine. Missed the win against Liverpool due to an injury, but is back in the side today in place of Zate. Basuma getting in ahead of Ashley Barnes and is fouled and wins a free kick. The Malian midfielder who scored one of their 2 goals in their win on the last season at Turf Moor, in which the Seagulls triumphed 2-1. The other player who scored was Aaron Connolly, who is also on the pitch for this game as well. Not the best free kick by Brighton, and it was given back to Lowton, who then gives it some wellies. He kicks it out for a throw-in. There's Sean Dyche. Gave a really rather comical press conference in midweek, something you don't usually see. Very much a press conference where he was describing lookalikes. He looks like Mick Hucknall, a man who was the lead singer of Simply Red, and he even quoted to say he looked like Chris Evans, in which I cannot see that myself, but each to their own opinion of other people, as they say. Here's Gross. Veltman to Basuma, really attracting the eye with his performances for Brighton this season. The Brighton number 8. The other side who like to have the ball at their feet, like nice crisp shots in Brighton. That is what they're all about. Here's Ben White. Real good first season in the Premier League. It was important they tied him down to a long-term contract. Leeds were really desperate to bring him back in on a permanent basis after excelling on loan and helping the Yorkshire side to the Championship title last year. Lowton's pass is blocked by Dan Burn. Burn now the throw. Well, you know what you're going to get with Burnley. They're a very patient side. They don't panic. They're very reserved. They do like to take things in their stride. Here's Eric Peters. Plays the ball in. He's got a bit of work to keep that in. He does very, very well to do so, but his cross wasn't the best, and it's easy for Robert Sanchez to grasp. There is Neil. He had his youth career at Manchester United before he went to Burnley. Really highly rated in and around Turf Moor. Not the best kick by Sanchez. Goes to Goodmanson. First time you've seen him have a run at the Brighton defence, and it's a good run with him carrying the ball forward a long, long way. But his cross is cut out well by the Brighton skipper as they're able to play their way out of danger and now keep the ball at the back. Both sides yet to have a real opportunity of their own. It does feel like there won't be a lot of chances in this game. If you are a regular watcher of both these sides, it is going to be a real tight tussle. Mopé's ball was intended for Connolly, but it was an overhit one, which the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, comes out to deal with. Tarkovsky. Ben Mee. Eric Peters. Ball finds Vidra, who's onside. What an opportunity this is. And Sanchez makes the save while Brighton stop. The flag does now go up by Adam Nunn. Of course, it's offside rule. If you know a player is offside as a defence, you've still got to defend it. Vidra is well offside. Good play there by Dunk to play the offside trap. And of course, the attack is stone dead before the play can be stopped. And Vidra knew that he was offside, just thought I'm just going to have a shot at goal and hopefully put the ball in the net. But Sanchez was alive to save it and did very, very well, regardless of the fact that he was offside. And it was in plain sight of the goalkeeper. But had that flag not raised, I would have thought Brighton would have had a lot more protestations about themselves there toward Anthony Taylor. Burn flicking it to Connolly. Now McAllister, there's space on the right, who he finds. He's under control well on the overlap is Ben White gets the cross in, bounces off Peters, Veltman, the Dutchman. Mopé's attacking it. And the last touch has gone off the Brighton number 9 and top goal scorer, and it's gone out of play for a goal kick. Well, Veltman put the ball in. Mopé was challenging alongside Matt Loughton. Arm on his neck. There is no doubt about it. It probably meant that Matt Loughton was off balance and did have a disadvantage to an extent. But of course, nothing came of it. So you won't be complaining too much. Here's the Burnley winger Goodmanson. Good ball in by Westwood, or it looked like at first. Sanchez to take. They're very much the side, Brighton, who don't like to go long. Very much keep the ball on the deck kind of side. McAllister to a good challenge by Peters. Trying to send it through to the Czech, Vidra. Ben White able to do well and do his necessary defensive needs. Webster to Dunk. Basuma. Now Gross. Let's find Burn. McAllister. Mopé. Gets the shot away on his left foot. It's gone off Ben Mee and it's a Albion corner. Well, they worked it well in the middle. McAllister played a nice ball to Mopé. Thinking at first about playing Connolly through, but he was closed down well by the Burnley defence. And Mopé decided to shoot, and it was a good block by Ben Mee, an important one as well. Defending for Burnley to do. Pascal Gross will take this corner for Brighton. They've got 3 players rather high toward the final 6-yard area of Burnley's goal. McAllister to White. McAllister gets it back. In away by Eric Peters, and Burnley deal with the cross in very, very well by McAllister. Well, they were trying to and then it just didn't quite come off as they would have liked. The visitors. Not the best ball in by McAllister. He certainly needed a lot more height on that ball if you've got any bigger players at the back post. Zuma knocks it all the way back to Sanchez. Webster. He's going to chase with Tarkowski, who doesn't lose that foot race and comfortably gives it back to his goalkeeper, Nick Pope. Put there by Lewis Dunk. We thought, and free kick's not been given, instead an advantage is played. It did look like it was more of a foul than it wasn't in my eyes. I mean, Vidra was sort of holding the ball up. He was embracing the idea of him and Dunk having that physical battle. He just pulled on his shirt. Pretty easy thing to spot there for Anthony Taylor, but obviously he's decided to let play continue. Pascal Gross. I remember when they were promoted to the Premier League. Webster, Connolly, McAllister, Byrne, chance to get the cross in. Well, blocked by Lowton. Webster will put the ball diagonally toward Joel Veltman, but Dwight McNeil defending well and heading it out for a corner as he took no prisoners there. Well, that's the thing. The wing-backs for Brighton are going to play really high in Veltman and Byrne, so it's so important that the two wingers of McNeil and Bear Goodman to come back and do their defensive work. So important that they do that and really help out the defence of Lowton, Tarkowski, me and Peter, because they aren't the quickest of the defence that you're going to see in the Premier League. Gross will take the corner. Floats it in this time. Barnes doesn't quite get it away. Me with a second header away. Byrne will put the ball back in. Him and Tarkowski were challenging for it. It's gone off the Burnley centre-back Tarkowski, and Brighton have got another corner. Just trying to go on the outside, just shift onto that left foot of his and put the cross in high. He tried to do that, but it's well defended by Tarkowski. It's not your usual left wing back, Dan Byrne. He has been a centre-back career. The likes of Wigan, Fulham and Yeovil Town, but Graham Potter has seen him as a wing back, and he has done well there. Corner in by Gross, headed by Cork onto another Burnley player, but there is a foul in there, and Burnley have a free kick. Well, it was a better ball in there by Pascal Gross. He managed to get it away from the near post. It went right into the middle, the heart of the Burnley defence, and then they were able to deal with it very, very well. Well, it is a tremendous job that Sean Dyche has done in the 8 and a bit years he's had at Burnley. As I said earlier, the third longest serving manager in the whole of English football. Only Gareth Ainsworth and Simon Weaver of Harrogate Town can say that they have been in a job longer than himself. Peters under pressure from Gross. Tarkowski to Barnes. How he would love to score against his former side. Lowton will hit it. Certainly one for a try. But it was one that didn't come off for the Burnley right back. He got a bit of space. They worked it well into him. Nice ball into him from Barnes. He carried the ball a long way and he just fancied the opportunity, but the shot wasn't really there. And I mean, the shot was there, sorry to say, but it was off target and was absolutely no trouble whatsoever. Heading into 5.5 years at Burnley now is Matt Lowton, signed from Aston Villa. Played for the Birmingham side in the Premier League, remember, under Paul Lambert. Sanchez just tells the Brighton defence to push up. The results are going longer from the kick this time. Dan Byrne was the target. Mopay and McNeil both left the ball there as they were trying to get it under control on the floor. Barnes to McNeil, sending it forward to Vidra. That's who they're looking for every time when they seem to go forward at the moment, Burnley. Peters on the overlap, gets the cross in. Again, straight at Sanchez. There's been a few times where they've got down that left-hand side, got in that good position, but the cross has been a little bit disappointing. Sean Dyche will be hoping that the crossing does get better from Burnley as the game sort of edges on. Two Dutch defenders coming up against each other, and Peters and Veltman. Lovely ball forward for Conley, just couldn't get that touch to the ball. He was well aware of where it was going. He really anticipated it as well. He made the perfect run, but he was just not able to stretch far enough as he tried to just get a flick or get the ball control from Gross's clever pass. Looks straight down the line, doesn't he? Gross looks forward. It's a really good intended ball for Conley, but as I said, he just couldn't quite get that under control. Burnley will know that they can't let him free and give him the opportunity to get the ball down and play. Newcastle in front against Southampton, and it's Joe Willock on his Newcastle debut with it. Of course, Southampton thumped 9-0 in the week by Manchester United. Have not got off to the best of starts inside the opening at St James's Park, and what a moment it is for Willock, who signed on deadline day from Arsenal. Burn dispossessed. Goodmanson gives it back to Loughton, but Burn in on Johan Berg Goodmanson and gets a free kick. It was not the best of play by Dan Bernberg. Goodmanson was on his tip to win it off him. He played it back to Loughton, and there was certainly a pull or a push of some sort. Well, this is the first real opportunity that Burnley have had from a set piece game. It would be a real good chance, they feel, to work the goalie Sanchez in by Westwood. Away by Veltman. Defended well there. Now Brighton are looking to scramble men forward as they potentially look to hit Brighton on the Burnley on the break. Here's Neil Mopay down in support on the outside. A heavy touch. Ben Mee went diving in. It's going to be a free kick given. That was right into the box. Anthony Taylor quick to make the decision. It doesn't look like VAR is needed for this. Mopay could have played it to Burn. He got away with that hefty challenge by me because he overran it. It's a real clattering challenge by the Burnley skipper. No doubt that it was a foul. Yeah, the right decision. It is on the outside of the box, even though Mopay inside the box. Good decision, and Ben Mee is rightly booked for that foul. Pascal Gross, as we know, is pretty handy when it comes to taking free kicks. Will he take this one here, or will he pass the responsibility on to someone else? Him and McAllister are both thinking about taking the shot on. It is a very good position to shoot from. It's smack bang right on the edge of the box. There's 4 Burnley players in the wall, as you can see. And those Brighton players in that box will be hoping they can get some sort of rebound and hope that Pope pushes the ball back toward them rather than away from them here. This could be the first good opportunity that either side has had inside 20 minutes. Ball set by Anthony Taylor. It's going to be Gross who's going to take. It's over the ball. And in the end, well away from the goal. Yeah, he tried to fool Nick Pope, didn't he, by going the opposite way than you would have expected. You would have expected him to go straight down the middle or go toward the near post to his right, but he went to the left and wasn't probably the right decision there for him to make. Well, there's Burnley looking very picturesque. Continuing to punch above their way. The town that, of course, has been happy over the last few years with continuing top flight football. And Headed on by me. Bergman flicking it for Vidra. Anthony Taylor has pulled it back. Something there. If you are just joining us on RS Media, it is Burnley 0, Brighton 0. 21 minutes played at Turf Moor between 17th placed Burnley and their 15th placed visitors. They just showed the graphic of possession stats. Brighton have had 61% of the ball. They are very much a possession-based driven team, and often I do play against them. I'm happy for them to do that. Ball in by McNeil. Wins a corner as it took a deflection off of Joel Veltman. Haven't seen McNeil really do that in the game where he's trying to drive at the Brighton wing back. On this occasion, it's obviously Joel Veltman, and he got the ball in. It took a deflection, and that's what they need to try and maybe do. Him and Peter try to link up that little bit more in the game, and perhaps maybe give McNeil the ball rather than Peter's being on the receiving end of it down that left-hand side. It's going to be Westwood. He's going to take this corner. Goes short to McNeil. Peters. McNeil will get it back. Manages to get the cross in away by White. Comes to the edge of the box for Goodmanson, but it's high, wide, and not quite as from Jan Berg Goodmanson. Well, they went short, didn't they? You think when it comes to McNeil, he's going to put the ball straight in, but they went back to Peters, and then Peters gave it back to him. This was a tactic of trying to see if Brighton were going to rush players out as they were going to trying to close it down, but they managed to just maintain the position, keep the shape that they had, keep the bodies in the box, headed up by White. It came to Bear Goodmanson. When you get in that position, you do really fancy it from there, whoever you are, but he caught it, if anything, too much. It was just so high and well. Gross to Veltman, manages to get away from Peters, but he can't get away from Ben Mee as he's stopped in his tracks. But this is a game that very much was something that could have predicted. Two sides having a very cagey, cautious affair. Very much just trying to see where the problems lie. They certainly aren't the most entertaining of teams to watch, in no disrespect, but they certainly do have a good game, which has been very successful. Also for Burnley over the years, given that Dyche has had a lot longer in his job than his counterpart from Solihull and Graham Potter, who of course is the Brighton coach these days. So he's very different managers of Brighton as Burnley boss. He's faced Gus Poyet, Oscar Garcia. He's also faced the likes of Chris Hughton and now Graham Potter. And he's faced three of those four managers. The championship manager. Both those sides, of course, were competing against each other for promotion. In the 2 years that Dyche has had in the championship, one promotion every time, with Brighton really being right up there competing with them. Was that a hand against Lewis Dunk? It certainly was. It was an arm rather than a hand. But he's saying that he got pushed into by Mate Vidra. But Vidra with clever striker play there to win a free kick. Yeah, he's saying he got pushed in the back there. It certainly does hit his arm. Well, there is an obvious arm into it. I mean, the first angle that I could see, it doesn't look like a lot wrong with. Oh, that is an obvious shove. You can see from the back of Dunk that there is an obvious push there, and the linesman down that side, Adam Nunn, for him to give that a free kick, I think is a real baffling decision. And Burnley could profit from this, and this would really anger Brighton if they were to hit here. Well, Ashley Westwood, their real creator-in-chief, the man who they look to be their playmaker and grab assists to help the team score goals, could potentially get one here. It's McNeil who takes it. He drives it low at Sanchez's goal. It went under the wall, but Sanchez wasn't to be fooled and was able to get across to his near post and push it for a corner kick. Yeah, you think Westwood's going to take this and whip it in on his right foot, but McNeil went low, tried to catch the keeper out, tried to see if he was off guard, but Sanchez, to be fair, did very, very well in dealing with it. McNeil with the corner in, Sanchez takes, but there's a foul between Tarkowski and Veltman, which Anthony Taylor sees. Yeah. Once a word with the pair of them. This is what happens. Was Tarkowski just trying to get one on his opponent in terms of trying to go around him and be free at the back post. Veltman knew exactly what he was doing, tried to block him, not enough to give a penalty. Tarkowski sort of ran into him. Good ball in again, and it's gone on through, and it was Tarkowski who made the run to the back post. He was able to evade the Brighton defence, get a touch to it, put it back toward the middle, and then Sanchez was able to sort of clear it away, and then Connolly plays it through toward Gross as he was clattered into. Pope comes out and deals with it. Yellow card's been issued for a foul on Aaron Connolly. Well, within the last sort of 30 seconds, the game has just sort of seen real big moments happen as Bear Goodmanson goes into the book. Yeah, it looked like Brighton were through there. Connolly just gets there first, plays it through to Pascal Gross. Bear Goodmanson definitely catches him, certainly an easy decision for the officials to make. But prior to that, you saw the ball go in. It evaded everybody. Tarkowski escaped to the back, put it back into the middle. Not quite sure he was trying to pick out. There was certainly a Burnley player in the middle there as he tried to poke it through, and they just about did enough, especially the goalkeeper, Sanchez there. But that was a real sort of nervy, tender hooks moment for Brighton there. It really was, wasn't it? And they were nearly for it. Webster nearly played Connolly through, but it was a vital lunging challenge by the Burnley defence that stops it. Vidra drifting out to the left once again. He gets away from Dunk. He might go in alone. He decides to square it back. He's come to Barnes, but he's blazed it over the bar. But really good play by Mate Vidra to set the chance up. He put the ball to the penalty area, went beyond the penalty area, went right on through to the edge of the box, but he's put it high, Ashley Barnes, as he was running onto it. Yeah, the angle's really tight for him to shoot, so he probably does the best thing, which is to lay it back, and probably the right option as well. It comes to Barnes. He just rushes onto it as he strikes it over. It's a good flick on by Vidra. Tarkowski puts it back into play with Jack Corkins diving in, and Brighton did enough to sort of just get that away in the nick of time, but that's where the threat could lie, as Vidra was able to win the flick on against a very, very tall Brighton back three. Well, Burnley in the last few minutes have just upped the ante here, cranked up the pressure, whatever you want to call it. But they go in search of the opening goal here. Remember, they are the lowest scorers in the Premier League of 13. Sheffield United are a side who have lower than them, who have just one of 14, and of course they don't play till tomorrow. Lovely ball forward for Vidra, gets under control nicely. Tries to find Bear Goodmanson, but Veltman happened, and the ball rolling through to Robert Sanchez. But he's been the brightest spark at the moment for Burnley. He's making those runs into the left-hand channel is Mate Vidra, a man who's gone a long time without a goal, nearly a year now since he last scored. If he isn't able to score by the 22nd of February, it will be 12 months since his last Premier League goal. Somebody, of course, bangs goals in the Championship for fun, but does find Premier League goals hard to come by. But Sean Dyche has shown a lot of faith in him, and of course, with their top goal scorer, Chris Wood, they're very much a side at the moment. Struggling to find the back of the net. Southampton's week's going from bad to worse. 2-0 down now to Newcastle. Jan Bednarek with the own goal. Of course, he had his red card overturned rightly after his sending off at Old Trafford on Tuesday in that 9-0 hammering, and he's now put the ball in his own net. Southampton on a real worrying bad run of form in the Premier League now. 2 down at a side who are supposedly struggling, albeit until they got that win at Everton last week and that 2-0 win. Peters runs out of room as Connolly does brilliantly to Short on the angle for the pass down the line as Brighton have won a throw. Yet to really see the energy and the burst of pace of Mopé and Connolly so far. But of course, there's two live wires that do need constant attention. Here's Veltman to McAllister. Tried to flick it into Connolly, but the flick wasn't quite what he had in mind. Here's Barnes. Basuma quickly to win the ball. Barnes just took a little bit too long on it. He just did not see Basuma as well. Burnley win it back though with Bear Goodmanson. Basuma coming across, trying to nick the ball off him, but he plays it to Lowton. He played it through, intended for Westwood, but it was overhit. Here is Gross. Ben White's running up from centre back. He's now gone to the right-hand side. Peters stands him up. And play continues. And I think by the lack of appeal shown by the Brighton players there, you can see why that they didn't think that was a free kick. Loads of Peters. Brighton deep as Burnley now have the ball, and then Peters with a simple 3-yard pass has managed to keep the ball out of play for a throw. And what a real waste that is by the Dutch left back. When you got a player in front of you to make a pass like that, that is just not the right way to go about it, is it? And you really should feel like you should do a lot better with that. Of course, there are games later on. West Ham, all-London clash at Craven Cottage, and Manchester United take on Everton, which is, of course, the last game of the day, which kicks off at 8 o'clock. So, of course, they're looking to try and close the gap on Manchester City, who face Liverpool as the top two from last year, go toe-to-toe at Anfield. Both managers out on the pitch and giving instructions to their team. Well, the previous meetings between these two sides, they have met numerous times down the years. This is the 37th meeting between both sides. Brighton and Burnley both have 11 wins apiece, but the most of the results has been the draws. As 14 of the 36 have been stalemates and one-pointers. Of course, stalemate is very much the theme when these two sides have met in the Premier League. There has been 3-0 between both these sides since, of course, they both played each other, with the first meeting, of course, being in December 2017. Gross to McAllister. Veltman, Gross again. McAllister again, just occupies that central position, doesn't he? Veltman gets away from McNeil, does really well. Tries to put a low cross in. Blocked by Peter. Brighton corner. Yeah, Veltman did really well to get away from McNeil, and he looked up, saw that there was a few Brighton players trying to run into the box, and they did very, very well in dealing with it. And in particular, Peters with the block. Well, we saw Burnley go close from a set piece early in the game. What can Brighton do? Good ball in. Another corner. Tarkowski watches it as he defends that against Lewis Dunk. The battle of the centre halves. The defending one, Tarkowski getting the better of the attacking one, and Lewis Dunk. Pay just thinking a trick up their sleeve, perhaps. Gross will take the corner yet again. Dunk with the header on goal and scores. Brighton in front. It's Lewis Dunk with the head. The Brighton skipper meets Pascal Gross's corner. And the Sussex side have their noses in front against Burnley at Turf Moor. We were just waiting for a good corner to be on the money. Dunk had no Burnley player around him. Tarkowski went to attack the ball. It went over Tarkowski's head. It fell to Dunk, and he was able to direct it goalwards and head it in to the back of the net, more importantly. And Brighton, who've yet to really have a real opportunity on Nick Pope's goal, have managed to get one here via their captain and talisman, Lewis Dunk. And it's a brilliant head by the Brighton number 5. And with it, it is goal number 3 for the season for Lewis Dunk. And of course, it is his first one of 2021. The last one, of course, he got was against West Ham United. So brilliant for him to score, as Brighton are back in the game and have the lead. Here is Mo making the run forward. It's going to go on through to him. He's going to put the ball in first time, just a little bit beyond McAllister, and Burnley are able to get it away. Yeah, that might just be the spark that lights the fuse for Brighton. It was a lovely ball by Mopé down the line, but this saw Barnes go down on the floor. Him and Sanchez were competing. Like it was more of his shoulder or his arm than anything else for Barnes. Of course, Brighton well within their rights not to kick the ball out of play. Well, there is 10 of the 11 occasions Burnley have conceded, they've gone on and lost. Of course, the only time that they did manage to win coming from behind was against Aston Villa. And they beat them 3-2. And about 10 days ago, that was now. Barnes forward. Vidra will chase. Webster will knock it back to Sanchez. He just waited for the right moment to do so. Adam Webster. Burn climbing up above Tarkowski and commits a foul. See Taylor saying the free kick was taken from the wrong place. It goes into the back of him, doesn't he? Just tries to get leverage. Of course, you've got to go up with your arms, but of course, Tarkowski's a player who likes the physical battle, as everybody knows. He was certainly fouled there. Cork. Ben Mee. Cork again. Here is Westwood. To Barrett Goodmanson. Does manage to roll on through to Lowton. He gets away from Webster. Now can he get a shot away? Lowton does. It hits his own player in Barnes. Attack still not over yet, though. Hit by Cork. He gets a second bite of the cherry, but at this time he's put it over the bar. His first shot was blocked by a Brighton player. It then fell back to him. And really should have been better there, Jack Cork. Well, it was Lowton who set the chance up originally. As he struck the ball, it bounced off the back of Ashley Barnes, and then he was able to keep the ball at his feet, set the chance up for Jack Cork. He then shot it, bounced off a Brighton player, and then he came back to him. He was able to get the shot away from the defence, but he got the shot away from the goal and it went over the bar. But that's probably the best opening that Burnley have had in open play. And really, they felt that they should have done a lot better with that. As they would have got level in about 5 minutes after they went and fell behind, courtesy of a Lewis Dunk header. Connolly couldn't quite feed his fellow strike partner through there. Here is Eric Peters. Barnes to Cork. Westwood to Matt Lowton. Bear Goodmanson. Westwood. Cork. Burnley throw. Westwood getting it from Peters in the middle. Knocks it back to Tarkovsky. You can see Brighton just holding back the pressing and just trying to hold on to the 1-0 lead that they currently have. Barnes. McNeil. McNeil gets it back, but going to get the ball under control. Here's Conley. Mopay to the left of him. He's got Gross to the right. Conley still with the ball at his feet. He goes it alone, and that's a terrific save by Nick Pope. Well, Connolly just waited for the right moment to fire a shot at goal. He did exactly that. He got it on his right foot. Looked like he had the beating of Pope, but it was a really good outstretched arm by the big Burnley goalkeeper to keep that out. And that is a fantastic keeper at 1-0. He's not had a save to make yet in this game, but when he's called upon to make one, he makes a fantastic one. Well, Brighton from their last corner scored via Lewis. Will they be able to repeat the trick here with the same man or with someone else? In by Gross. Pope this time collects that one as it was easier for him to deal with, but he decides to go against playing it quickly. Holds onto the ball just probably a little bit too much longer than he would have liked, but he does roll it out to the right back, Matt Lowton. Here's Cork. Pressure from Mopay. Well, Brighton's midfield do just tend to allow the opposition to go toward them and make the strides toward their goal and their defence and let Mopay and Conley do the chasing. They will run themselves into the ground. They don't get tired very easily, the pair of them. I always feel like Conley is an ideal man to play away from home as opposed to at home. Lowton to Bear Goodmanson. Now to Westwood. He'll put the ball in. Not a bad ball in. Well, watched by White, who's able to head away. And then Basuma is able to thump that clear. Bear Goodmanson gets the touch ahead of Burn. Here is Mopay. Just slowing things down, waiting for blue shirts to come up in support, and they're just keeping the ball at the back now as they're not in a rush, it looks like, to get a second goal. Webster with the ball through, but it's given straight back to Pope. Well, if you take into account the fellow members of the bottom six, of course, there was a draw between these two sides earlier in the season. Brighton have beaten Newcastle. They drew with Sheffield United. They've drawn twice with Fulham. And, of course, they drew with West Brom. They still have West Brom to play. They've still got Newcastle to play. So they are unbeaten at the moment in those games. Burnley, of course, got a draw against Brighton. They've got results against the likes of West Brom as well. Newcastle early in the campaign. Sheffield United, they've got a result against. Here's Lowton, gets the ball in. Good defending by McAllister. And he's won a corner, Matt Lowton. Oh no, a goal kick, because the final touch was off him, I beg your pardon. Yeah, well, played there by McAllister to come back and stop the cross going in. It's what Burnley have been looking to try and do all afternoon in this first half, is just try and get balls in and unsettle the Brighton defence. Look for Barnes or Vidra, just get a touch onto it, whether it's from their foot or with their head. And they've managed to deal with it with a rousing success so far. 1 minute of additional time. Burn always the target when you try and get ahead of from him. There's an offside flag raised. Lowton takes it quick. They're going to roll through to Barnes. He chests it down to Vidra. Decided against shooting for time. It's come to McNeil. Good save by Sanchez. Real rasping drive by Dwight McNeil. Good ball in though. Sanchez able to collect. And that's the first big save that he's had to make from open play. Robert Sanchez in this game. Yeah, Vidra, you thought he got shot away from Barnes' flick, but he then did really well to lay it off to McNeil. He really hit it well, did Dwight McNeil, but it was just straight at Sanchez, who was just able to push it high into the sky and stop the shot going in. Well, there's the halftime whistle, and the difference at the moment is via the captain, Lewis Dunk. Got up high to meet Pascal Gross's corner with around 10 minutes of the first half remaining to make Brighton lead 1-0. Sanchez has made 2 good saves from a Dwight McNeil free kick and then a shot right at the end from the same player. Strong words at half-time from Sean Dyche. But Graham Potter will be happy that his side leading. It's Burnley 0, Brighton 1 at the break. Yes, very much so it is. Burnley 0, Brighton 1 from Lewis Dunk, his 3rd of the campaign to coincide with the goals he scored against Wolves and West Ham United. And has given Brighton the lead. Of course, they're looking for their 3rd successive 1-0 victory in the space of a week, of course, to coincide with their win against Tottenham, in which Leandro Trossard scored, and of course their win at Liverpool, which Steven Alzate scored in. And of course, both those match winners are on the bench for the Seagulls this afternoon. Let's, of course, round up, of course, what else is going on in the Premier League. There was a win earlier for Aston Villa. They beat Arsenal by 1-0, courtesy of Ollie Watkins. A goal that lifted Villa to 8th place in the league. They're a side better away than they are at home. And of course, they managed to get a vital home win in that respect. Southampton got back against Newcastle as a debut goal for Takumi Minamino on loan from Liverpool. Of course, they were 2 down when Joe Willock scored, and then an own goal from, and of course, various sources are saying that Miguel Almiron scored that goal. Nonetheless, of course, Fulham, they entertain West Ham United at 5:30 at Craven Cottage, of course. Fulham will be keeping tabs on the spot at Turf Moor. Of course, with Burnley losing, the gap will stay at 8 points, but should Fulham win, or a positive result, the gap could close to 5 points with 3 points in Fulham's favour. Well, of course, if they are able to get a point, it will go back to 7, so they would make some sort of ground up potentially, but of course, a win. And Manchester United face Everton. Of course, tomorrow in the Premier League, there's a busy day of action as well. Spurs and West Brom kick things off, hurting from 3 straight defeats to Liverpool, Brighton and Chelsea, respectively. Wolves-Leicester is a 2:00 kickoff from Molineux. Liverpool and Manchester City, what a real big game. That is the from last year going to. And Sheffield United, bottom of the league, take on Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel. Yet to lose under his stewardship. And then, of course, there was a game on Monday, Leeds at Crystal Palace in the Premier League. So it has been a game where not a lot of chances have happened, as you would have expected. Of course, the game did liven up at the end. Burnley having 2 good opportunities, testing Sanchez, who's probably been the hardest working of the 2 goalkeepers. Nick Pope made a really good save from Aaron, which he managed to tip his bending low effort past the post to deny the Irishman from scoring a goal and keep it at 1-0. Of course, we will bring you more analysis to come in the first half as we manage to get it, of course. Brighton did triumph at Burnley last year. Remember, they managed to win by 1-0. They managed to win by 2-1, sorry. Goals from Yves Bissouma and Aaron Connolly that day, as they managed to win on the final day of the Premier League campaign. Of course, a delayed and Premier League end, of course, with the coronavirus pandemic. That remains Brighton's only win to date at Burnley in the Premier League at Turf Moor, but they are halfway to recording a massive win against their opponents in this game. Pretty sort of telling as well. I mean, you look at the substitutes for Burnley. They've got on the bench Bailey, Peacock, Farrell. They have Phil Bardsley, Kevin Long, Jimmy Dunn, Dale Stevens, Josh Benson, Jay Rodriguez, Anthony Driscoll, Glennon, and the Swedish striker Joel Mbongo. Of course, Josh Brownhill, Chris Woods, Charlie Taylor, real regulars in their team missing out. Brighton subs, of course, they've got Christian Walton, Michal Karbovnik, Adam Lallana, Jakub Morda, Stephen Alzate, Leandro Trossard, Tao, Danny Welbeck back on the bench after his knee problems, and Andy Zakiri on there as well. Well, this is the goal that came about for Brighton. It was a beautiful delivery by Gross, which he's got in his armoury. Dunked him off balance as well when he met the header. He was leaning back, and to get the power and the direction to generate on the header was a real good header. He just got it in beyond the outstretched leg of Johan Bear Goodmanson, who was on the post but just could not do enough to hack it away. Well, this was a good opportunity. McNeil went low for the free kick, fooled everybody. I think Brighton thought the ball was going to get whipped in by Westwood, but he managed to get it under the wall of Mopay and Connolly, but Sanchez wasn't to be called out with his near post as he was able to push it out for a corner. Well, then from the resulting corner, a good delivery in. McNeil got the ball in. Vidra flicked it on. Tarkovsky made the run at the back post. No Brighton player was in a small radius of him. He managed to get it back. He was intended for Cork. Sanchez was able to just palm it away down low to deny Cork from getting a chance on goal. It's been it from the first half. It is Brighton who have the lead with that Lewis Dunk header, and the second half is to come from Turf Moor. Well, more stats to actually bring you. Last season at this stage, Brighton managed to have 24 points, which is exactly the same as they are on prior to going into this game. Of course, their record last year was 1-6, drew 6 and lost 10, whereas going into today's game against Burnley, they've won 5, drew 9 and lost 8. So they're sort of turning a corner, shall we say. Burnley, though, nonetheless, they have a record of 7 wins, 3 draws and 12 losses at this stage last season, which obviously brought them a total of 24. They are on 3 points less. They're on 2 points less than what they were at this stage. But of course, last year they had conceded 9 more goals than what they had, but they had scored 11 more than what they'd had at this stage of the campaign. So whilst their defending has been pretty exemplary for the most part, their attacking play has been not really quite at it. It has been quite telling. They have got talented players up front, the likes of Wood, Rodriguez, Barnes and Vidra. Barnes has hit 2 goals this season. Wood has hit a few, but of course with the big New Zealand striker missing, it does sort of mean that the goals have to be coming from elsewhere, and they have almost been spread about a bit. So the second half is to come, of course, in this game. And of course, Brighton, going into the game, had not conceded in 4 Premier League matches. And in 4.5 minutes, it has gone to 3. It is gone to 405 minutes since they have last conceded a goal in the Premier League, and that came against Manchester City in a 1-0 loss. They've kept clean sheets against Leeds, Tottenham, Fulham, and Liverpool, and now they are doing exactly the same against Burnley. So real testament to the good work Graham Potter has done with that Brighton defence. And of course, not just him, but the coaching staff deserve as much as anything else for that. Of course, as well, Stuart Atwell hasn't needed to be busy with the VAR at all in the first half. He wasn't needed to be stepped in for any offside or decisions. Of course, we did see a few of them in the last round of matches. David Luiz's red card, which of course was cause for concern and debate. Jan Bednar's red card was also one that was talking of town. Martial's penalty, whether it was or not, that of course did cause a bit of a stir, in which it has been coming under criticism. But this season, of course, it has been ever since it has been brought into English football with its sort of, at times, inaccuracies and so forth. And very sort of contentious decisions, whether it's handballs or clear and obvious fouls. But the next 5 games, both these sides, of course, are in FA action in midweek. Burnley entertain Bournemouth at Turf Moor, looking to reach the quarterfinals of the competition. But Brighton go away to Leicester. They got a tougher time on their hands, facing the side, of course, looking to chase the top 4 in the Premier League. Burnley's next 4 Premier League matches are Crystal Palace away. They got West Brom at home. How they would dearly love defeating that. Tottenham away, and then Arsenal at home. So they'll probably fancy their chances in all 4 of those games. They are a side who do often play with no fear, but they have claimed big scores over the past few years, beating big sides. Manchester City, Chelsea, Tottenham have been beaten at Turf Moor by them. Of course, they did beat Chelsea away a few years ago. Of course, they've got Aston Villa at home, looking to do the double over there. They've got them next weekend. They then face Crystal Palace in their derby. Of course, there's a real bitter road between them. West Brom away then at the Hawthorns on the 27th of February. And then, of course, they will face Leicester City at home on the 6th of March. It is. But, of course, that could easily change as the kickoff schedule has not quite been announced. So the second half is drawing closer in this game. If you are just tuning into RS Media, it is Burnley 0, Brighton 1. Lewis Dunk's header, 35 minutes in, is the difference between both sides at the moment. It was a corner from Pascal Gross. Dunk was in the middle, and he was leaning back, and he managed to flick the header toward goal, and he was enough. Nick Pope's outstretched arm, and Johan Berg Gudmundsson's clearance at the near post. There was the goal right in front of you. What a brilliant header it was by the Brighton skipper to get his 3rd goal of the campaign. Fulham, West Ham United is to come later on in the Premier League. Was his side being a real surprise package in the Premier League this season. Fulham are, as it stands, 8 points from safety, but with Burnley losing, it really does represent a good opportunity for them later on. Manchester United looking to continue to fight Manchester City, their bitter rivals for the title, as they take on Everton at Old Trafford, looking to close the gap to a solitary point. Super Sunday tomorrow, Wolves, Leicester, Liverpool, Manchester City, Sheffield United, Chelsea are 3 games to look for. Of course, Tottenham face West Brom at 12. It kicks things all off. And then Monday, to round off the action, Leeds face Crystal Palace from Ellen Road. There's Jay Rodriguez. He'll be, no doubt, wanting to come on, the Burnley native, his 2nd spell at the club. He was replaced out of the team as Ashley Barnes was put in his place. But of course, with Barnes coming back in and being such a stalwart, a real person of trust under Dyche, Barnes has obviously taken the place of Rodriguez, who's had to settle for a place on the bench. So, a big second half to come for Burnley. It would be a 3rd straight defeat without a goal. They are themselves now 235 minutes without a goal. They wouldn't like to make an extra 45 minutes and make it 3 straight games without a goal, but that man is at the moment, keeping 5 clean sheets in a row in the Premier. Of course, he came into the team in place of Matt Ryan, who was in the Arsenal goal today for their 1-0 defeat against Villa, and hasn't looked back, has kept his place, and has done a superb job. There's Sean Dice just power walking his way, if you like, to the dugout. Of course, the tunnel at Turf Moor is right in the corner on the right-hand side of the ground, so it's a fair old walk to the dugouts. Anthony Taylor is checking the players on the pitch. He blows his whistle and away we go. So Lewis Dunk's header separates these two sides. Remember, Burnley, after falling behind, have only managed to win one of their games they have got a goal down from. And that was against Aston Villa 10 days ago. And they've got to try and do it again if they are to claim 3 points and get their 7th win of the season. And immediately, Anthony Taylor has to blow his whistle as Barnes catches Lewis Dunk as he was trying to get on the end of Matt Lowton's cross. Brighton lad, Brighton born, came through the academy, did Lewis Dunk. Now the two things at the bottom of your screen coming up now. Burnley going into it, made one change. Barnes in place of Rodriguez, who dropped to the bench. Here's Basuma. Brighton, of course, made 3 changes. One of them was Veltman. Here's Basuma. Now to Ben White. Low cross in, wins a corner. Veltman replaced Solly March, who's injured. Came in place of Leandro Trossard. And Alexis McAllister came in place of Stephen Alzate, who drops to the bench, as they were the 3 changes for the Seagulls. Corner here. First one of the second half for them, just 90 seconds in. Gross take. Dunk meaning it again. Looking for Mopay. Getting it away was Bear Goodmanson, who ran from the front to get up above Neil Mopay. Lewis Dunk, every single time, is that man they're targeting. Gross the ball in. Dunk had to run onto it. He made brilliant contact to get that toward the back post. Looking for Neil Mopay, and then Bear Goodmanson was able to head it away, but he's been the real problem at the moment for the hosts in dealing with set pieces. Brighton throw, which Altman's going to take. He just robs the water off the ball. Has been raining heavily in Burnley. There it was. Dunk managed to just flick it toward Mopay, and then it was just a nice header away from Bear Goodmanson, which got the danger away. Here is McNeil. It is to Ben-Mee, Tarkovsky. Down the middle for Barnes. Defending well was Webster, who got in front of him, and it is a goal kick. Well, so far, not the happiest of returns to the starting lineup for Ashley Barnes. And also with it, not the best of the games against one of his former clubs. When will Sean Dyche be tempted into making a change? He's incidentally got a lot of youths on the bench. Bongo, Benson, Driscoll, Glennon, Jimmy Dunn, and players like that. There is an ex-Brighton player on the bench in Dale Stevens. Their only signing this season for the first team. Really, that is. Here is Connolly. Maybe a chance to line up a second goal. Connolly goes for goal himself, but he's off target with his effort. Yeah, Connolly is someone who does like to just try and take the shot at goal rather than play it, and he's found himself in a good position. He's taken on Ben-Mee, shows him the inside. He looks to go for the placement, but He's just sort of really gone quite heavily off his foot and gone out of play for a goal kick. Well, he's not scored since the 2nd of January. Over a month since his last goal. I would dearly love to end that drought. Basuma wins it off Dwight McNeil. Here's Conley, might go it alone. McAllister's to his left. Conley decides to go it alone. And once again, he is off target. Well, the Irishman has done that a few times where he's got the ball in midfield, carried it a long, long way, brought the ball into the final 18 yards of Burnley's box. If he looked over to his left, he would have spotted McAllister, who came up in support, but he didn't look and went for the selfish route. And the decision to do that was one that wasn't vindicated by Aaron Connolly. Well, that's a few times. You just see Burnley starting to play slightly higher in the second half in the only 5.5 minutes. And if they give the ball away in a really good area for Brighton to sort of win it back and push on up, they could find themselves a second goal down and maybe even more. But of course, they have to be more attacking. As we know, they are a goal down at home. But the main thing is they've got to be wary of the fact that if they do lose the ball high up, Brighton will punish them because they have got the players and the pace to do so. McNeil managing to just escape from Veltman. Peters looking up. Burn with the header across to the left-hand side, away by White. Ben Mee. A little bit short for Cork. McAllister's clearance is somehow kept in play as White keeps it in. Sanchez on the floor to Gross. Veltman kneeing it away. Brighton makes a mess of that. Here's Peters. Now McNeil again. Westwood. Mee. McNeil once again. Mee once again. There's Mopay. So often the last line of attacking press. Good feet there by Lowton to get away from Byrne. Now is Bear Goodmanson. Lowton's on the outside of him. Really good play. Tries to get it across to McNeil. Vital interception that is by Lewis Dunk. Had he not been there, that ball would have gone across to Dwight McNeil, and you would have expected Brighton to make it 1-1. Burnley to make it 1-1, sorry. Corner's taken short. Westwood to Bear Goodmanson. On the edge of the box is Peters. Crowded out all the way back to Nick Pope. Brighton did well there as they just stood firm and maintained their shape. Westwood to Pope. Vidra knocking it down to Bear Goodmanson. Vidra. Good feet to get away from White, but can't get away from Gross, who was there defending. Burnley applying the pressure off the face of Dunk. Chance for Barnes. It's blocked. It's come to McNeil. Now to Peters. Strike. Sanchez saves. Chance for Goodmanson, and it's 1-1. Burnley have deserved that equalising goal, and it's the Icelandic number 7, Johan Goodmanson. And finally, Brighton are breached. After going over 400 minutes without conceding a Premier League goal. Well, they just did not stop with the relentless attacking play. He drove a shot at Sanchez. He palmed it straight out to the edge of the box to Johan Bear Goodmanson. He took it on and then just let it drop. And then he hit it sweetly on the half volley. Burnley level. And it's Johan Bear Goodmanson who's got it. There's been a different feel to Burnley in this second half. And they've equalised. Here is the Icelandic winger. Now to McNeil. He gets it in low. Cook got the touch to it, but it was a touch that means the ball rolls out of play for a kick. Yeah, Brighton maybe have been taken a little bit aback by it, but here it is again. McNeil got the ball into the box, and that attack fizzled out quite quickly after that heavy touch from Cork. But Burnley have been a lot better. We sensed that there was going to be a reaction. You could see that Dyche wasn't happy at the end of that first half, and now he's very much going to be feeling quite satisfied with the start they've made inside the opening 10 minutes to the second 45. Burn goes down under the challenge of Bear Goodmanson. Well, 3-2, Newcastle, Southampton. That's seen 2 goals in the second half. Ward with the goal. Game not over there. Bear Goodmanson. High cross into the box, away by Joel Veltman. First time Brighton capped inside their own half in this game. Cork to Westwood. Lofts it up. Vidra tries to knock it down to Barnes, but Dunk calmly and casually puts it back to Sanchez. I think what Brighton have just got to do, they've just got to calm themselves down. They're just allowing Burnley to probably just get on the ball. They can press. Mopé and Conley have been non-existent in that department in this second half, and they might just need to try and maybe get that back amongst themselves. McAllister goes down under the challenge of Cork. Referee says no. Barnes goes down under the challenge of Basuma. Advantage played. Cork. Peters to McNeil. Now Tarkovsky. Lovely ball. And now Vigil. What a chance this is. Plays it to Barnes. Really good defending by Ben White. Here's Bert Goodmanson. Good cross. Barnes with the header. And Barnes has scored. But he is to be denied as the flag is raised. Gary Bezic. Crawley put the flag forward to say he was offside. Well, Brighton are really, really high. Burnley are playing so much harder. Ball gets played to Vidra. Unselfishly lays off to Barnes. What a vital challenge it was by Ben White. And then Brighton have got to get up quickly. Good ball in. Barnes heading it in. And there, Gary Bezic raised his flag quite quickly. He was right there as that ball did get played in by Bear Goodmanson. He was offside. No need for the VAR to overturn it. Of course, with every goal, there is routine checks to see if the ref has got it right or the linesman putting his flag up has got it right. Stuart Atwell was satisfied and the game continues with it at 1-1. There's a real change of emphasis in the second half and all the momentum is with the Clarets. As McAllister is on the ground here, clutching the side of his face. Yeah, Court's competing. There is an elbow there, isn't there? His eyes are on the ball the entire time. There is no doubt about it. Catch him, but painful one for McAllister nonetheless. Gross all the way back to take it. Looks forward, away by Ben Mee. McNeil. Peters just smashing it back. Sanchez is playing on the keeper there and just nods it to another Brighton defender. Absolutely brilliantly there. The action areas, all the attacks have been from Burnley. 66% of it has been from Burnley in the attacking sense. Very vocal coaches. Sean Dyche rallying the troops here as they've really been right on it in the second half. Of course, with Bear Goodmanson scoring, it's ended their 2-game drought, or 2.5-game drought without a goal, if you like. For Bear Goodmanson, it's a real moment for him. It's his first Premier League goal of the season. Here is the Icelandic winger, really coming alive. He could get a second one. He goes down. Was just rather him falling over rather than any contact with the player. But here comes Connolly. Foul, was he, by Cork? Referee says no. Connolly rather theatrically and rather easily went down there. Peters now. McNeil to Cork. Tarkovsky. Burnley is so much more higher in Brighton's half. Barnes is offside, to leaves it for Lowton. He gets it in low once again. It's a Brighton interception. It's Adam Webster who does it this time. And it's all Burnley in this second half. And it's Brighton who've got to weather this storm. Yeah, they're getting a job out of Matt Lowton, aren't they, being down that side. He's really come alive with his overlapping runs into the box. And they're struggling to deal with it. Dan Burn is always at the high. Sean Dyche is not happy about something. And forced Anthony Taylor to jog over and have a word with him. He's wanting a word with Peter Banks, the official, as well. In by McNeil. Headed away by Byrne. It went behind him. It's going to go for another corner on the opposite flank for the hosts. It is Welbeck and Trossard were warming up for Brighton. Nice to see Welbeck back involved after a few weeks out with a knee injury. Westwood to take. Ball goes in. Sanchez missed it completely as he tried to punch it clear, but it's not taking a touch off anybody in that box, and it's a Brighton. He puts a lot of whip on it, Westwood. Very difficult to deal with. For Sanchez, he's got a crowd of bodies in front of him. It didn't look like it might have took a nick off a Brighton player, in truth. Of course, the referees said no, it's a goal kick. So Danny Welbeck comes on. Connolly off. His game is over after an hour. And Trossard is also on. Belgian, who scored the winner against Tottenham a few weeks ago, is on, and Mopé as well. So Mopé is replaced by Welbeck. Connolly replaced by Trossard. There's Neil Mopé, their top goal scorer, was good out to it today. The French striker. For a bit of a drought himself. Scored in 3 Premier League games, but of course you take into account the FA Cup games, it is at least 5. No, he hasn't. He hasn't scored in his last 3 Premier League games. Make that 4 now, with, of course, his goal not coming today. Burnley free kick. McNeil is going to take. He's been a player that Burnley have relied on today. He's had a few good opportunities, but his kick is one that Sanchez did. Went a long, long way, to be fair, from, and then he got a lot of power underneath it. But unfortunately for him, Sanchez, who came out a long way himself, was able to claim authority and ease. Dunk getting up above Barnes and heading it away is Dan Burn. Trying to play it through to McAllister, but it's cut out well. But it does stay like this as a draw. It'll be another one for Brighton, who've got the most in the Premier League. Well, there's a shot of the new Burnley chairman. An American group that's taken over from Mike Garlick. Also added to the foreign investment portfolio that, of course, is really taken off in the Premier League over the last few years. There are very few English owners. Brighton, of course, do boast that in Bloom. Of course, they also own another club in Belgium, don't they? Union Saint-Gilloise here as well. Bet the sub. Goal maybe took 1-2 extra touches. This is blocked by Tarkovsky. Basuma, as we know, likes to have a shot from range. But that one was well over the crossbar. Yeah, nice play by Brighton. Welbeck just dropped deep, found that little bit of space. There was no Burnley midfield. They were taken out for a brief second. His shot was blocked by Tarkovsky. It came to Basuma, as we know, who's not afraid to score a spectacular goal or try one. And that shot there did not come off. McNeil goes off Veltman, corner kick. Well, he's really had to be good at the back, right wing back. It's not his usual area that he defends in. He's usually a central player. Burnley have had 68% in this second half, which shows just how on top they are. In by Westwood, Sanchez does punch it clear, but it's not far enough. Gross just about away. Meath getting under control, clipping it in, left by everyone from the Brighton defence, and allows Sanchez to come out and claim it with no Burnley player around him, but his kick does not pick anybody up and get it back. Peters. To McNeil. Back now with Nick Pope. Vidra. Lovely ball. Can Berg-Gudmundsson get their head of Webster? It's a good sliding challenge by Webster. It's another corner kick. And once again, it's down that right-hand side, if you like, through the middle. They're really making Webster and Burn work in particular. Yeah, Webster was quite out of the first half, but this second half, he's been the one who's had to do the most defensive work, whether it's interceptions or challenges. And that was another example here. And it's all going through Berg-Gudmundsson's side. It goes the corner away by Burn. Lowton, he'll strike. He flicked it up to himself before he let fly and shot off target. And if that was in rugby, as a drop goal attempt, that would have come off like a dream. But of course, that attempt did not come off. Well, I wouldn't be too bad a draw neither. It would put the pressure on Fulham to get a result. It would mean they go 9 clear of Fulham before they play against West Ham. And of course, if Fulham were unable to beat the Hammers, they would, of course, stay that gap, with Burnley gaining an extra point to stave off relegation. Trossard, good feet. First time we've sort of seen him in any capacity. McAllister. Trossard. McAllister again. Over to Veltman. Cuts it back for Gross. But doing well there was Jack Cork, who followed his run all the way. As then Nick Pope's able to claim the ball. Yeah, we've not seen McAllister a lot in this second. Obviously, you know, he likes to occupy a position in the middle. He doesn't tend to move out to the left or to the right. He just stays in the middle, doesn't he? And he just looked up. It was a really good ball to Veltman. Maybe Veltman took that one under control and just maybe took the shot on, or even drilled it in lower instead of just playing that first time volley into Gross there. Barnes. To Vidra. It was Webster who dived in. Vidra competing for the second ball. The flag stayed down. How desperate to get a goal. And the flag does go up now, and how desperate he is to get on the score sheet. Well, Barnes played it through. Yeah, Vidra is offside. Webster did get the faintest of touches. In fact, Sanchez made the angle look small, so it's pretty impossible for Vidra to score beyond him unless it was a chip over him. Of course, Gary Bennett does finally stick his flag up, and it's so frustrating at home, isn't it, when you know a player is offside as a defender, and you just got to hope that the linesman's in tune with you and knows that the decision is offside, and then, of course, wait for the attack to be dead, and then, of course, put the flag up, which, of course, is a new rule that's been introduced, which has irritated Brighton supporters, but it is one that's here to stay. There's one that has taken some getting used to. There's finally one that we are getting used to nonetheless. Burnley throw. Lowton to take. Basuma competing with Barnes. Burn with the header forward. Vidra. Peters. Looks up, gets to the edge of the box. Westwood. Vidra, is this the chance? Good save by Sanchez. Still. The wait for a first Premier League goal of the season goes on for Mate Vidra. He must have thought that was meant for the Czech striker, but he was denied by Robert Sanchez in the Brighton goal. Lovely football by Burnley to set chance up. Peters then to Westwood. Lovely first time ball through to Vidra. Good first touch. He gets the shot away. He just pokes it at Sanchez. But Sanchez stands tall in the goal to make a really vital save. And what a big save it was. Was straight at him nonetheless. But of course, as Barnes went in for the rebound, he does catch Sanchez's bicep and kills the attack stone dead. Well, as I said earlier, his last goal was the 22nd of February 2019. It's nearly a year to the day since that. He's got 16 days to try and eradicate that Premier League goal. He did score, of course, in the against Fulham in that fourth round win. 18 and a half minutes to play. Of course, there is a real look forward to tomorrow in the Premier League. Liverpool against Manchester City. Manchester City, of course, you feel would probably put an end to Liverpool's title hopes. They are already 6 points clear of them. A win to make them go 9 clear would all but end Liverpool's chances of retaining the Premier League crown for this season. Well, Webster dived in. Sort of like his knee just sort of maybe got stuck into the turf or maybe got into the back of Vidra. It's hard to tell from that angle, but he's going to go off temporarily as he's going to receive some treatment. He's just putting some weight on it, rather feeling it as well. One thing you could see when he was sliding in with Vidra, he was groaned in agony as he was trying to stop Vidra from scoring and getting a shot away. But the man who was there to stop him was the man in orange, Robert Sanchez, who's really vital saves this game in particular for Brighton, especially in the second half. But of course, he's unable to keep his record up of 5 straight clean sheets in the Premier League. Brighton had never done. And of course, they had kept 4 prior to this game this afternoon. Welbeck to Pascal Gross. Trossard. McAllister. Webster put under pressure from Vidra. That's been a real interesting clash, this game between them two, as they both tried to have the better of one another. McNeil, if anyone is going to win it, it feels like it's going to be Burnley. Peters. Cork. McNeil. Almost acting as the central midfielder in this attack. Gets it back from Vidra. McNeil might go for goal. Vidra again. He tries to play it to Barnes, but it just did not quite have enough. And Brighton do enough to shut the door on Mate Vidra once again. And his team. And Webster's on the ground now. And I think that might be a sign that he's going to have to come off. He's down at the floor, but he's getting ever closer, isn't he, to ending that drought. Lovely 1-2 between him and McNeil. He gets it back He's just falling over as he receives the passes. He knows he's not going to get the shot. He tries to lay Barnes off, but it's just too short and not enough weight on it to carry on through. And Sanchez is able to gobble it up. Well, there's Adam Lallana, Premier League winner just a few months ago with Liverpool. His experience will be vital. You might also see a change in formation for Brighton, of course. Something's got to give. It does look like Webster is going to come off. It was his knee in that period. It does look like Potter is shouting out a change of formation, a change of tactics. Going to hobble off now is Adam Webster. So Lallana goes on. Off goes Adam Webster with 15 minutes to play. And Brighton, of course, have made their full complement of subs. I have this team now for the remainder of this game. Bottom of your screen, the Fulham West Ham United teams are in. Fulham struggling, of course, against an overachieving West Ham United side off the back of a really good away win against Aston Villa on Wednesday. Be hoping that they can repeat against the fellow London side in Fulham. Burnley throwing. Lowton's going to take. White. Burn. Clearing it away. It does look like Brighton have gone to a back four with Veltman at right back, Dunk, and White as the centre backs, and then of course Burn as the left back, and then probably Gross, Bissouma, and McAllister as the three, and then Welbeck, Trossard, and Lallana as the wingers, perhaps, or maybe even they might even be playing a diamond sort of thing. Trossard is very capable of playing down the middle. He did that on Wednesday against Liverpool before he was taken off with 3 minutes to go. Here's Bear Goodmanson in through to Barnes. He slides in with Sanchez. It's a goal kick. Did look like for a few brief moments that Barnes was going to get on the end of it and get a shot at goal. But it's just those fine margins that are just saving Brighton. Sanchez off his line quickly, makes a decision. Barnes is right to go for it. He's always a man who's not afraid to shirk out of any challenges. And Sean Dyche is right to say that. He's right to go for the ball. Sanchez complaining, but there's nothing wrong with the Burnley number 10 going for the ball there, and nothing for Anthony Taylor to give. Not even a booking, no, nothing. It was something that Barnes was quite able to do in the rules of the game in the eyes of the law, and had every right to do it. Peters to Westwood. Ben Mee. Oh, in all the games that they have won recently, and obviously you take into account the Fulham draw, they have had to do some sort of defending, but probably not as much as this. Against Liverpool, they weren't really troubled as much as a lot of people thought. Tottenham was a performance where, whilst Tottenham were poor, Brighton did a really good job in shutting them out. And against Fulham, of course, a real even contest in which Fulham did have a few moments in the game, but didn't allow them any chances. And of course, Leeds, you've just got to be so good at the back against the Bielsa side who just create opportunities for fun. Westwood over to Lowton, Vidra, Bear Goodmanson, McNeil strike. I think it's actually hit his own player in court. Attack's still not dead yet, though. Lowton to court. Lallana was trying to scramble it clear, and Bounced off a Burnley player and out for a Brighton throw. Still no sign of a Burnley sub yet. Maybe Jay Rodriguez might come, but one thing we can say, Dwight McNeil has been a real focal point today for Burnley. Heading into the final 10 minutes of this game. 1-1 it is if you are just joining us on RS Media. Lewis Dunk's goal 10 minutes before the end of the first half saw Brighton 1 up and go into the break with that scoreline before Johan Berg Goodmanson in the 53rd minute, around about that time, equalised for Burnley to score his first goal of the season in the Premier League and make that all competitions. Seeing at the moment Burnley get a point, but the hosts will feel like they should have all three maybe in the bag if they is to stay like this. They've had good chances. Sanchez has made some good saves. They've really taken the game to Brighton in this second half. Joel Veltman through to Gross. In the box he goes. Chance for Trossard. First touch lets him down. Tries to flick it over the head, which is going to be a hard thing to do given his big stature. Peters went down. Play on, says the ref. Trossard's cross is poor and easy for Pope to take. And then kick out of his hands. Barnes and Dunk competing. Dunk to try and take it on the chest, but Barnes was in a bit of a whirlwind as to where that ball was in the air too. Lallana with the cross and it's blocked. McAllister went for it, goes down under the challenge of Barnes. Anthony Taylor doesn't even signal for anything. McAllister's still down, holding his head. Brighton are on the ball. He's hopefully going to get up soon. Here's Ben White. McAllister is not getting up in any time, but he's up now rather gingerly. Ben White did just stop for a few brief moments as he's going to have kicked the ball out of play, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Here's Basuma. Dan Burn. White. Right throw. Last touch was off. Ben Mee. Well, in the grand scheme of things, a draw would not be bad for either side. Remember, Brighton would now move 11 clear of the drop. Burnley would move 9. Could easily change should Fulham get a win over West Ham or get a point for that matter. But it would still put them in a healthy position. I think if you probably asked both managers, they probably would have settled for a point before a ball was hit. But it could easily change. Westwood to Tarkovsky. Ben Mee. Peters knocks it all the way back to Nick Pope. Pascal Gross. Now to Ben White. Brighton keeping the ball around the back. Basuma. Looking it back to Sanchez. Here's me. Tarkovsky. Now it's with me again. Lovely ball to McNeil, who couldn't quite get that under control. And instead of taking it down, he just tried to flick it forward for a fellow Burnley player. They were just trying to push forward for a goal. Goodmanson. Dispossessed. Last touch goes off the Icelandic winger. Good backtracking by Leandro Trossard. 3 caps for the Belgian national team. They're impressive at Brighton over the last 18 months. All given to him is caps by Roberto Martinez Gross. White will chase with me. He's gone a long way to chase that, but me's able to safely give it to Nick Pope. Veltman and Barnes tussling. McAllister trying to play it through to Welbeck. McAllister kicking himself with that. He just puts his fist to his hand to say that he should have done better with it. Westwood's made the overlapping run. He gets the cross in. But it's a disappointing ball and Sanchez claims. It's remaining. 1-1 it is. Between 2 of the league's bottom 6. Would extend Brighton's run to 5 games in the league without defeat. And of course, if you had that FA Cup win over Blackpool, it would make it 6. For Burnley, it would end a run of 2 straight league defeats without a goal. 2-0 losses as well, with a welcome point against that bottom 6 side. And it would keep up Brighton's impressive record of not losing against those sides, as I alluded to earlier. They've taken draws out of West Brom, 2-0 nils out of Fulham, a draw against Burnley early in the campaign, a draw against Sheffield United. Of course, if they were to draw, it would make it 2 draws in the season over the 2 meetings. Burnley throw, Leighton's going to take. Me. Court to Tarkovsky. Leighton gets the cross in. Well, watched by Veltman on the edge of the box. Walk. Decides to play it to his right with Westwood. Tarkovsky's up. Cross for the back post is nodded on by McNeil. He intended to knock it back to sort of the edge of the box, but there was a Brighton player to cut it out. Cork lifting it forward. Gross was trying to flick it away rather cleverly, but didn't quite pay off for him. Gross. McAllister. Now to Lallana. Gross. Away by Burton. Good defending by him. Well covered as well. He went a long way to defend that cross. And there's a Brighton player down. It's McAllister down once again. And the game will have a momentary pause. Well, you'll get a chance to see Benson's goal again. It's very soon. He's just been named the man of the match. And has a good second half. Got the equalising goal that got them back into it. And also has contributed as much as anything else. Well, there was just that little knock into the side of McAllister's face from Westwood as he played the ball. He did just sort of leave his arm away as he was trying to get away from him. It certainly did just catch him. Of course, with these injuries, you have got to take extra care. He's going to go off just for a little bit, of course. He has just come back from an injury as Alexis McAllister. Well, the Brighton boss up from the dugout. And on his touchline to try and give instructions to his team. Not been at it second half. There's been few far between since Conley and Mopé went off. It has kind of drifted away from them. There has really been a second half display that has belonged to Burnley in more ways than one. Lowton to Westwood. He fires it forward. Away by Dan Burn. It is a throw into Burnley. In a high position. Tarkovsky to Westwood. Now Goodmanson. Lovely ball forward. Flicked on by Barnes, but Sanchez is there to claim. Lallana. Stop time is about to be confirmed by Peter Banks. 3 added minutes for a team to find a winner, or it stays as a draw. And will be a draw for the 5th meeting out of 8. Vidra. White does really well, and it is a goal kick to Brighton and Hove Albion. Well, if anyone in the Burnley team deserved the goal, it's Vidra. He's tried to link up the attacks. He's had some good opportunities of his own from some... Got to say, it's not just through poor finishing for me. I think it's through some good goalkeeping from Sanchez. Sanchez with the kick. Underneath it is Tarkovsky. That is his meat and drink. McNeil, Cork, Peters. Really good through the Brighton defence. And it's a corner as it's come off Pascal Gross. As we head into the final 90 seconds of stoppage time. Ben Mee up from the back. Tarkovsky, you'd expect, would be also up from the back as well, as Burnley go in search of a winner. And what would be a priceless win. It would be their 5th home success of the campaign. Should they find a Westwood in with the corner? Well, headed away by Lewis Dunk. We'll put back in. Dunk heads it back to Sanchez. Sanchez takes it. He's in no position to mess about. Away by Lowton. Westwood goes down under the challenge of Gross. Referee says free kick to Burnley. McAllister's saying, how's that a foul, referee? But Anthony Taylor was in a really good place to make that decision and spotted it quite quickly, to be fair. Dwight McNeil really put a lot behind the ball. Tarkovsky flicked it on. Basuma away. Here's Lowton. Got to get the ball in again. Goodmanson lost it high. Has it got enough to carry on through? Tarkovsky flicks it down. Cork shoots. It's bounced off Dunk, and then Brighton are able to smash it clear. Trossard's the only man up there. Welbeck's now coming up in support. And then Peters is able to clear it away. But there is the full-time whistle. So Burnley and Brighton share the points once again in a Premier League match. It is the 5th draw in 8 Premier League meetings. Brighton went in front via a Lewis Dunk header with 10 minutes of the first half remaining, but it was cancelled out via Johan Berg Goodmanson's first Premier League goal of the season as he struck it low beyond Robert Sanchez. Right now, 11 points adrift of 18th place Fulham. It's a welcome point for Burnley. They now are 9 points ahead of Fulham, who, of course, play in around about 40 minutes time. Full time at Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 1.